Welcome to Rural Unrecognized, a podcast for people who want the inside scoop and behind-the-scenes experiences of business owners in and around the Flagstaff County region in Alberta. These entrepreneurs openly share their stories, challenges, and ambitions that contribute to building the legacy of the Flagstaff region. Brought to you by Flagstaff County, a community of communities in Southeast Alberta, the stories featured on this podcast are the perfect accompaniment for your drive to work, while you're waiting for hockey practice to start, or for those early mornings during harvest. Each episode is designed to spark your curiosity, teach you something about the people in your community, and take pride in the richness within the region. Welcome to Rural Unrecognized. I'm Amanda Wagner, a speaker and business strategist, and I am delighted to host this podcast. Each month, we will be joined by a guest who will graciously share their experience and consider what Rural Unrecognized means to them. Today, we are joined by Tracey and John, owner and operators of JD Barrett Woodworking. I am so looking forward to this conversation because I want to hear a little bit more about family business, why you do what you do, and some of the magic behind the projects that you choose to take on and who you work with. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Let's start with a little bit of a history lesson. Tell us, JD Barrett Woodworking, who is JD Barrett? What brought you into this industry?
Yeah, I'm JD Barrett, John David Barrett. I got into woodwork when I left school back in the UK. I did my apprenticeship and I worked there for many years. Then I started my own business in the UK doing building renovation work. I'm a joiner by trade, so I used to make doors, windows and staircases and then do the construction side. After quite a few years of a company in the UK, we decided change was ready, so we came to Canada. When we were in Canada, we really started up straight off on our own, didn't we, to start with. We did find it a little bit hard trying to win people's trust because we're strangers in the country. So I did start working for a cabinet company in Calgary, and we worked on some quite high-end buildings. And then after 2 or 3 years of working with them, learning more the cabinet side of the construction, we decided it was time to go on our own and start our own shop.
And so how long have you been in business? How long have you had your own shop?
So we had a shop in Airdrie. It was the one we started in Canada. And we had that for about 4 years. Started working with some contractors then and had a steady run of work. But our business lease was up on the building. So we had that transition of, do we carry on there? But in the meanwhile, we'd bought a property up in Alliance, and it was a project property. And we were coming up when we could, which was very rare because we were always busy working in Calgary. One summer, we spent a few months up here for the summer holidays with the children and worked from here and thought, well, this is doable. So we decided, we will move up here and close the shop down in Airdrie. It's been a little bit of a, playing it out, working out which way to go a little bit. But our work is still in Calgary at the moment. So we do commute into Calgary. But it's a lot nicer lifestyle living out in the rural area.
Tracy, tell me a little bit about your experience. We're going to dig into the Calgary Airdrie Alliance trifecta. But Tracy, first tell me a little bit about what brings you into this world.
Okay, so basically I'm married to John, and we've been together now 33 years or something, and I'm married for 25. And from very first moment I met John, I was kind of involved in the business. I do the paperwork, I do the accounts, I do the marketing. We always worked together one way or another, even though when I was in England I had a main job working with the police and in the finance section. I still helped John help run his business as well. So we've always been sort of very connected in that way. And then when we decided to emigrate to Canada, I gave up obviously my job in England. And then I was a full-time mum for a number of years. And I recently got back more into running the business with John, and now I'm officially a director or operator with John. So we work together all the time, and we often go into Calgary together, and I help with the installations now, which is good. It's good for me because I do enjoy getting out and meeting other people and working and helping John, because doing it by himself is a big job. So he does need some help, and I enjoy it. It does gives me out of the house, and it's nice.
For context, Alliance is a community within Flagstaff County. When you first moved to Canada, you said you were in Airdrie. What brought you to Alliance?
We didn't actually come to Airdrie originally when we moved to Canada. We actually went up near Peace River to start with. Bought a property up there. Mm-hmm. But I think coming from England, everything is small and close in England. And I don't think we really had that concept of how far things were here. So.
Yeah, you can't drive across the country in 8 hours here like you can in other parts of the world. Yeah.
So it was a little bit quiet. We felt we didn't come from a big city in the UK. It was a smaller town farming community again, but we needed just that little bit more. We had our second child just after we moved to Canada. So then we headed to Calgary.
You experienced the rural lifestyle and quite liked it, enough so that you're willing to drive to Calgary for your work and for your projects. What is it about the lifestyle that works for you, especially for listeners who might be thinking, I can't believe you're going to do that drive all the time? What's the benefit for you? What do you experience?
I think when we were in Calgary, Airdrie, it was work all the time. Like, you were at everybody's beck and call, so you were expected to be there. Living out of town, one, it gives us that excuses we're not in until next Tuesday, for instance, but it does give me that time to spend on our property, and I like to be in the summer outside in the garden. And, I love woodwork, but sometimes you need that little bit of break from it, and I do enjoy doing my gardening, my vegetable gardening. So it gives us that aspect of both. Sometimes just being able to stop at 10, 11 o'clock in the day and go and just have a cup of coffee on the deck, chat to Tracy, rather than being in a workshop with other people who are just constant questions and the next thing and the next thing. It just gives us that little bit of an easier freedom of life. So.
And we do like the rural lifestyle. We like living in a quiet community. Alliance is very quiet, but we can get out and walk and just enjoy the countryside, and the people here are really friendly, and I feel that it's just a nice break from the city. And when we do go into the city, we're in there for 2 or 3 days at the most. And then it's just a huge relief to be driving back out again, because it's so busy and everyone's in a rush. And coming here, it's just so relaxing, and we enjoy it so much. And yeah, it's great for the kids too, I think. They like it here.
I imagine that in your drive back home, there's a weight lifted off. You feel the pressure kind of going down, going, okay, I get to go home. There's a different speed here. I think that balance is really quite fascinating, again, because I imagine people are going, I can't believe you make that drive, which I just Googled is 3.5 hours.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So that's a pretty serious drive. But yes, to be able to do the work, come home, have a cup of coffee, talk to each other, and yet still run a sustainable business. I think that's a really interesting way of working. And I think that one thing you said earlier, John, is the lease was up and it was time to make a decision. And sometimes there are decisions that are not necessarily made for us, but put our feet to the fire and say, you need to make a call. Have you encountered any other situations or circumstances where you've been in that situation of we got to do one thing or the other? And if so, how do you make those decisions?
Not so much in Canada. We did have it in the UK. My company I started when I was 21 after the owner of the company I did my apprenticeship with passed away. And when we decided to come to Canada, we were on that brink of just what I would call making it. We had quite a few people working for us. And we actually got in with a good finance company who would put the money up for us to do the large projects. But those projects were so big that the pressure and the worry and the stress was probably not doing my health the best. So we had to make that decision. We did have 2 or 3 good employees, which was sad to say that we were going to let them go and they would have to find, but we helped them out. One, we actually helped them out to start their own business in the UK, passed on some work, which was good. When we make our mind up as a couple, we tend to make it up pretty quick and then we go for it. We're very decisive people. So when the idea, which did come via Tracy to come to Canada, was talked about, I think within 2 to 3 weeks, we said, let's go for it. It did take a little bit of time to apply and get our permanent residency.
We decided to go down that route of getting our permanent residence before we came, which meant that we had to go down the skilled workers permits, which luckily I've got a degree and John obviously did his apprenticeship. So we got enough points to come here and bring our 1.5-year-old daughter and our 10-year-old dog at the time to Canada. No family here whatsoever. And we just really were dropped right in it. But we enjoy that sort of challenge. And we thought, why not? Why not move to Canada? I did have distant relatives that lived here. It wasn't as if Canada wasn't known to us. I've always been brought up heavily influenced by Canada. The fact that we come here is our dream, and we just love it here, don't we? We really do.
That's so wonderful to hear. I think that when anybody starts a business, anybody decides I'm going to go out on my own, it's a really challenging thing to do. Never mind starting a business, not having a built-in network. So how did you, in the very beginning, establish your own network or your own community that led you to be able to collect these wonderful clients and work on these high-end projects? What were sort of the linchpins that helped you find your people?
I started working for a cabinet company in Calgary, and we did actually work for Julie Shaw, the internet lady. And renovated her house, and it was and then the floods happened as well. so we were inundated with work through the company that I worked for, but I'd already planned on going on my own by then. We did have a lot of equipment and tools that we brought over from the UK, so I wanted to utilize them because they were just in storage. So we decided to set up the shop. It took a year or more to set the shop up in Airdrie with all the rules and regulations. I offered this company that I would still do their work, but in my shop. In the meanwhile, I got in touch with another builder who we've done a couple of work jobs for, and he said he was interested in giving me some work, and really it went from there. And then he knew another contractor, and then I got in with some designers, and now we have a couple of really good contractors we work for, which is our steady flow of work, and we try to keep them happy. We have a very good designer who seems to give us nearly all the work she gets, which has moved us now into some really high-end houses. And I always get that feedback that everyone seems to be so happy with what we do. So the jobs, one always comes from another, and people pass our name on.
I think there's so much pressure for people to be on social media. I feel it as I'm saying this. I'm like, oh God, I haven't posted on Instagram in literal months. But I think there's a lot to be said for being out there doing great work and still seeing the power and impact of word of mouth and reputation, carrying people forward. What is your approach or beliefs about marketing online? Tracy, I know you said that's kind of a hat that you wear. How do you find yourself navigating word of mouth, reputation, but having any sort of online presence?
Yeah, I love marketing. It's something that I really enjoy doing, but it doesn't really work to a real full advantage on social media. But whether it brings in the work, it probably doesn't really, does it? To be honest, we don't get our work through the marketing that we do online, which is a shame because I think if we have more followers, we get more people to like and maybe more customers. But I think at the moment, it's just really word of mouth, who we work for, how John has built up this reputation of being really good. And that's what we're relying on. And that's why, it'd be great to do more work around rural locations. But to be honest, our contacts and our customer base really is in the city. If we could change that, we would, definitely.
Well, hopefully this is one platform where we can kind of really encourage people to take a look at your beautiful work, because from what I've looked at online, you have beautiful finished projects. And I want to ask about some of your favorite projects, but I want to wrap this up, or that question up, by saying that I think people feel like they have to engage in social media because they're supposed to, or that clients must come from that. And so I really appreciate the strategic angle that you can take and go, sure, it'd be great, but we know where our customers come from. And so I often see people who will put so much time and energy into social media without a purpose, without a goal. And I'm the type of person that I'm like, I would rather hire somebody who is out doing the work going, oh, I didn't have a chance to do this, or, oh, I haven't updated my post yet. It's because I'm doing great work and I'm getting my name out there. I'm doing the thing. So I really honor that, because I think everybody assumes, oh, I'm not doing a good enough job. I'm supposed to have more likes and follows. I'm like, no, you're supposed to build a business with real people and build relationships with your customers so they want to hire you. So I really appreciate that look into it. So I've looked online. You do some beautiful work. Question one, is your home absolutely stunning? Or is it a cobbler with no shoes situation?
Yeah, so we bought this property as a project. It was supposed to be just a get away from the city, come and have a break, sit in the garden and do a bit of work. But we weren't getting on and getting it done. So then we decided if we lived here, then we'd have more time to do. But that was actually, but that didn't really work out. I think we probably do less now on our property.
It is a really old house. It's over 100 years old. It's one of the first houses here in Alliance, and we fell in love with it when we saw it because it's got so much character and the sort of stuff that we like from England. It's the history, and it's a property that we really sort of thought we could, restore some of it, but also add some new bits too. We're actually currently in a room that we've just done, and it's very new looking and bright. But there are some parts of the house that are a lot more historic with the old casings and all that sort of stuff. So that's really why we wanted this property, wasn't it? Because it was a lot of things going for it.
We have quite extravagant plans for the property, what we really want to do with it. And a lot of that has been heightened recently because our job we're actually just finishing off in Calgary at the moment is another house that's 120 years old. And that's made me feel, well, I'd like to do a similar ceiling in our house. Some of our house, like this room, is modern. We have the old original house, and that's the bit we want to just make old looking, but comfortable and practical. And then we'll have a reasonably modern kitchen when I do it. One day. But it is the classic. We've probably got the worst kitchen imaginable.
We don't want to show any of our clients our kitchen. They're not allowed to see any photos of it whatsoever because it's embarrassing.
But it will, when we do the new kitchen, it will be on par with the jobs that we do.
The before and after will be outstanding. And notice that at no point I said, when are you planning to do this? Because nobody needs that kind of pressure.
No. And I think when it's all done, we'll invite our friends or neighbours to come and actually see what we've done to the property. And I think a lot of people know this property in the village, so I think they'll be quite shocked when it is done. But it could be quite a few years until it's finished.
How have you been accepted in the community of Alliance? You said people are friendly, you have space to walk. Like, what has your experience been being part of the county?
The people that we've met have been really friendly. We've been to a few social gatherings, and it is fun to meet with other people. The village itself is always trying to improve and trying to grow, and I'm glad that we're part of it. We're here, and we hope to stay here for quite a while, don't we? So,
yeah,
and be part of it.
Tell us about some of your favorite projects to work on or favorite clients to work with, and why are they your favorite?
Let's see. There's been a lot of projects. Like I said, the current one has been a really different project for us, and it's inspired me for my own property. A lot of it is to do with the designers. So if you get a good designer, they come up with the ideas, and that gives you the interesting part. Like we've had probably about 10 years ago, everyone just had a white kitchen. It was a little bit like boring, really, but they look good. They're practical, they work. But things are changing now. So we've done some nice projects with a lot of the wood grain is in now. So the oaks, rift-sawn oak is a really popular thing at the moment. So the specific projects, they all look good. I don't think we've really had anything that hasn't worked. Like sometimes you'd look at the design and look at it a bit strange and think, well, I don't think that's really going to work. But amazingly, when it's all in, it looks good and our customers are always happy. We did a project recently where it was only a couple of cabinets, but they did a gym on the third floor of a house. And we built the cabinet for their like towels and water bottles and various things to go in, all their energy bars and things like that.
Drinks.
Yeah,
they had it all. It was literally like a gym you would go to in the city, but in their house.
Yeah, there was room for 4 or 5 people at a time working out.
It was massive.
We do furniture pieces as well occasionally. Every carpenter, cabinet maker, it's their little dream job is to make furniture pieces. It's a very hard thing to get into, but every now and then, and one particular designer seems to be sending us stuff that way. We've built some nice custom tables and nice bench pieces and cabinets.
Why is it so hard to get into furniture? Is it the skill? Is it marketing it? Is it the cost? Like, what is it that makes that gap so real?
Mostly it's the cost. We did, going back a little bit to the original questions, we did have a little furniture store in England. We made a lot of furniture out of reclaimed salvage timber. And it was back in the day when the country style was in, so there was like these Welsh dressers, as we call them, or hutches, I think here is the name. And we did tables and various things there. But you're always competing with the big box stores. So if someone sees a table in IKEA, for instance, it's reasonable and I can't actually buy the materials for that price to make the table, let alone make it. And there's a lot of very detailed, fine work involved. So unless you're making something very high end or very custom and design, it's very hard to get enough money out of it to actually warrant doing it. So, yeah.
I think for many people, the word custom terrifies them because when they think custom, they think investment. And I think investment is quite a generous word. I think when people hear custom, they go cost and everything in them clenches and goes, no way, not for me. I couldn't possibly. How do you help people see past that line from cost into value?
Yeah, it's actually a very good question, that, because I have this a lot with people because we call ourselves custom, but sometimes we're not any more expensive than if you went to Rona to buy a kitchen. The only things that are different is ours will fit better, things like fit to the wall. It's built in more, is the custom. A basic cabinet is a cabinet. It's all to do with the type of door, the type of drawer that opens. Like our drawer boxes I make all my own drawer boxes, and they've got the dovetails on the end, and they're solid maple drawer boxes. Where if you go to the bigger stores, you'll get in a box that's made out of metal, and they're good boxes. They're strong, they're durable, and they work. But Our customers just want that little bit more. They want to open the drawer, and when their friends are around, they want to see the dovetails on the end. So that is the custom side of it, but it's the wrong word. People associate custom with expensive. Some custom cabinet companies, I do know a few, I'm not going to say any names, they call themselves custom, but they're not custom. A lot of so-called custom cabinet companies in Calgary, the stuff is actually mass-produced over in BC. It's still made in a Canadian factory, which is great, but it is just brought into Calgary. The doors are doors. They're standard-sized doors. The only custom parts of those jobs tend to be like where the ovens fit and things like that. And sometimes the islands tend to be a little bit more custom on those jobs. But yeah, a lot of stuff is so-called custom, but it isn't custom. But ours, we make just about everything. We even try to make our own cabinet doors when we can. Some are not practical, and there is some good cabinet door companies out there, so we do use those for certain cabinet doors. But, yeah.
Sometimes the advantage in working with a company like yours is that you have the connections to, if this isn't the fit, here's what is the fit, or here's how we can get creative about this project. If you thinking about the community that you're part of in Alliance, what are some of the projects that you would suggest to your community to say, this would be a really great launch point to start thinking about integrating woodwork and custom into their homes?
Yeah, I've been talking recently about this. We've always got a plan. We're always the next stage of our business. We don't mind the travelling into Calgary, and we've got great customers, but it would be nice not to have to do it as much. Yeah. So we have talked about trying to set something up more local in the village as well. So, but we'd have to come up with more of a standard range of kitchen cabinets rather than the true everything is individually made. So it is still custom, but not so much like detailed custom, if that makes sense. More of a budget range kitchen. So maybe we would have to go down the metal drawer box sort of type thing and a standard size door and things. But as for the pieces that fit to the walls and the ceilings, they would be the custom pieces. We would need certain equipment to make stuff quicker and like not mass produce, but we would have to do 2 to 3 kitchens a month on small ones, rather than at the moment where we just do one kitchen sort of in a month to 6 weeks, something like that.
I often hear about price sensitivity and people going, well, how do I explain or justify why something costs this? And one of the great lines from a man named Bob Phibbs, he calls himself the retail doctor, and he talks about value instead of price. And one of the best things that he's ever said is, don't shop with your own wallet. And so when people meet with me and we talk about sales, in my world, I'm like, well, maybe I wouldn't spend this amount of money on what I offer. Well, it's because I have these skills and I know what to do. But for somebody else, that investment might be incredibly valuable. And so this concept of don't shop with your own wallet is, I don't get to make assumptions about what other people are doing with their money. In fact, my job is to go, here's all the things we can do. Price is one part of the conversation, but also there are many people who, like you said, buy homes and go, I want this to be a space that I love and a space that I get to enjoy and spend time in. So I would love to see how we can get creative and go, how do you set up in your community and get your name out there so that, yes, you get to travel less, but also you get to work with these families and homes that, like your own, have a ton of history and get a little bit of extra love. Because I think there's wiggle room between intense custom and IKEA. Like, I don't know what that word is. Custom-ish is the best that I can come up with. But some kind of middle ground where people get a taste of what it's like to have something that fits correctly in between walls and ceilings and is just theirs. I think that's a really special thing.
Yeah, it's getting that across. Life isn't all about showing off, but people want to, if you've just spent a reasonable amount of money on a new cabinet, kitchen or closet, something, they want to show it off. So if someone's walking into their property and they see the new cabinets and they go, oh, wow, that's amazing. Or do they walk in and say, oh, yeah, we saw that in IKEA. That's nice. And that's our concept. It is, we've got that like, oh, wow, who did that? That's amazing. And that's what it's trying to get that across. But I understand that everybody's got budgets, and that is the hardest thing. And it's the same with everything nowadays, the way the world's going. You go grocery shopping and you've got a budget now. You might do without something, you might buy a cheaper version, and that's the same with the cabinets at the end of the day. But I think there is this concept of nowadays, everything, you just have to go to the big city to buy everything, and it'd be great if people would be more local and start saying, let's all use local people and local cabinet makers, local plumbers and local stores. It's never really going to really work until everyone goes down that route.
Of course, yeah. What is your dream project? If somebody called you and said, we want to do this, what is something that would fire you up and get really excited?
So in England, we did a lot of old work. Like some of the buildings were like 400 or 500 years old and we worked on. So I've always had like that old building look. And that's what interested me recently with the job we're doing currently, because it was an old house. It interested us with this house. I like solid wood at the end of the day. So if it was something that had the curves and carving, I have done a lot of carving in the past as well. But one was all carved. It's an Art Nouveau house and it was all swirly cards. And I hadn't done it before and I had to go. I was given that opportunity to do it. It worked. And I ended up doing the whole job. So I'd like to do something similar to that. Like the things I really want to do are the ones that I want to do for myself. Like we want to build a nice hardwood mahogany library in this house eventually. That is the last job. But it's just my dream jobs are the ones, if you don't get them, I do them for myself.
I love that. You're going to find a way to do it. If it's not for someone else, it's going to be for you. I think that's so special. And there's a ton of value in just the craftsmanship, and to hear your passion and excitement for it means a ton. Those are the types of people that I like to hire, where I go, yes, budget is one question, but I want to hire great human beings who are passionate about what they do, who are skilled and curious and want to build something amazing. So I love hearing that is what you are doing and finding a way to work on these really incredible projects. Now, one question that I ask every single person that comes on this show is, what does Rural Unrecognized mean to you? Because we came up with the title of the podcast in partially because we liked the way it sounded. We'll just say that. But another part is that there's a lot of assumptions made about rural areas. And so in our interviews, we try to give our audience something that makes them go, oh, I never thought about it that way, or that's not what I would expect. So what does Rural Unrecognized mean to you?
Rural Unrecognized means to us is basically you are trying really hard to get all these businesses in our local community recognized. And at the moment, it's quite hard to be able to know who does what here. And I think there are so many businesses here that are got a lot of potential and doing pretty good, but it's getting that out there, isn't it? And telling everyone that they're here and use them and shop local and be supportive of your community businesses. And I think that what you're doing with this podcast especially is just also raising awareness that there are businesses that are unrecognized like ours. Ours is unrecognized in this community because we obviously do most of our work in the city. And hopefully, people will start saying, oh yeah, we have our own local woodwork shop here in Alliance that people can go to and buy things and use us. So hopefully, eventually we will become more known. And that's really what Unrecognized is, isn't it?
Well, our hope is certainly that this platform can elevate the businesses that exist. We can learn a little bit more about the humans behind them and the brilliant work. Where should people go to find you online to get a taste of what you do so that the next time we do see you in the community or the conversation comes up about what are we going to do about our kitchen or our built-in closet, they come to you? Where do we find you?
The first thing is to go onto Instagram and look up John Barrett Woodwork Inc. We are on there, and our link to our website's on there, and our link to our Facebook site is on there. Or you can just contact us directly. You can email us at info@jd_barrett.com. And yeah, this is where we are. So hopefully, go onto Instagram and find us on there and see all our amazing projects that we've done.
Incredible. Well, we'll put all of that in the show notes as well so that we can share with the community as we publish this podcast. And we will make sure that in the show notes, it also says contact them here, but don't show up at their kitchen because their kitchen is bad news. Go to their other projects, not their personal kitchen. Yeah. They'll get to it. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you both so much for being here. It's really great to put faces to names, and I hope we get to see more of your beautiful work within the community and beyond.
Yep.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
This interview not only got me excited about the idea of what could be done in my home and thinking about the intricacies and the value of custom-ish to custom builds and renovations. It sounds to me like JD Woodworking is the type of business that you want to help you in your home. And it sounds like there's a bit of a call for them going, how do we really integrate ourselves into the Flagstaff community? So for all of our listeners, I think this is a really wonderful opportunity to think about, what do I want to do in my home, and how can I call someone who lives down the road from me? How can I make sure that I'm getting this expert craftsmanship from people who are my neighbors and are part of my community? My hope is that through this platform, as well as through talking about local businesses, we can move from unrecognized to the place to be and the person to talk to. So really excited to see their business grow and expand and to one day see that beautiful, intricate kitchen. Thank you so much to Tracy and John for being here. We will be back with another episode of Rural Unrecognized. Stay tuned. These interviews are getting so juicy. If you're joining us via the podcast, please know that it's available on YouTube. And if you are joining us via YouTube, you can also just listen if you are an audio person who doesn't want to have to sit by your screen.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Rural Unrecognized. Be sure to follow the podcast. And if you like the show, leave us a 5-star review on your platform of choice so that more people can find our show and join us for more stories. If you're interested in learning more about Flagstaff County, please visit flagstaff.ab.ca. We'll be back next month with a brand new episode and a new story for you to engage with. And in the meantime, consider for yourself, what does it mean to reimagine rural?